He's the one who put it in, originated. He's the one who stood by from infantry to the potential, full potential. And we ask his forgiveness. We trust in him, and we bear witness. He's one alone, having no partners. And Muhammad ibn Abdullah is his servant, is his messenger, and the seal of the prophet. And dear Muslims and dear believers, dear honorable audience, I greet you, assalamu alaikum. We'd like to say a few words, and I want to introduce my, I say co-host, and I'm not just my guest, but co-host Imam Abdul Kareem Muhammad. But Imam, assalamu alaikum. To the program. And we're going to speak a few on this precious freedom, the precious freedom that we have in America as a democracy. And we know that this is from Scripture. Democracy, when God created the human being, he created the human being to be free, to be a free being, to have freedom of thought, freedom of expression, and freedom of movement. Yes, and so we have living in this country, in America, and we have to also be aware, that this Constitution came from Scripture. And when you read in the Constitution that it says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by a Creator, with inalienable rights. Now, when they say right, those kind of rights, the government is saying there's rights that they didn't give us. These rights came from the Creator himself. When he created us, and he created us human, we have these rights, and we have these freedoms. So we want to be inalienable rights, and they express it in the Constitution, life, liberty, and this pseudo happening. And this life we talking about, brother, man, we want to speak on that for a few minutes. I was looking at in the dictionary, and he was saying that life is general or universal conditions for human beings' existence. General or universal condition. And we and thinking of what Imam Muhammad said, we know this community life. When we talk about universal conditions for human beings to exist, it's community life. Beautiful. And this is what this government said, we have the freedom to establish that life. Those of us who from Judaism, those of us from Christianity, those of us from Islam, Al-Islam, and other religions, we have that freedom in these United States of America, this democracy, to have those type of rights. So, and then the liberty, I'm gonna give you a chance to speak on this life, brother man. Then this liberty, that means independence. That means independence. You have the freedom to move around. If you can't find, and it also means you have the right to be employed, to have work. This is all these rights that we have here, So this type of independence that we have is the freedoms. This is the precious freedom that you see people trying to get here to the United States of America, because the United States of America was developed and originated on this type of pattern of people trying to go somewhere where they have the freedom to establish their life. That's why we have the United States of America. The people the people from Europe didn't have freedom. They have a freedom in religion. They were suppressed, oppressed, and the prophet said you should migrate, and that's what they did. Yes. They migrated. So, but man, I'm taking a little long to get to set the course, but now I do want to just whatever you want, whatever section this you want to just speak on or whatever you want to express, because I just want the audience to know about these rights that are so precious that a lot of times we take for granted. A lot of times we don't even take the time to understand these rights. Right. That they're so precious that other people almost die trying to get here, to get these rights and these opportunities. And I'm not criticizing us for being here and not understanding it, but we have to be aware of them now. Yeah. We have to be aware that we are here. We paid we paid a big price, right, ma'am? That's right. I'm talking about African Americans. Yeah. For the position that we're in right now. We paid a big price for it.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, and I agree with you 100% on your opening statements, and we have to really take life seriously, and we have to really take this election that's coming up now seriously. And you and I had talked about this here. This perhaps is the most significant, important election in the history of this country. Now that's saying a lot in the history of this country.
It's saying a lot.
And perhaps the most important election of our lifetime.
Yes.
And I can bear witness to it. It's probably the most important election of my lifetime.
Yes.
You know, so it is so much at stake, and this show is so important because it gives us an opportunity to educate and inform the public, the people, the community, that we as voters, as voters, we have to make sure that we are more informed when we vote, when we cast our vote and everything. And I think this is a problem that we have. You know, we have an intelligent public, but to some degree, and I would say this because we speak our conscience. This is why we have people in the White House right now, the president. You know what I mean? Because the public were not educated and informed about this person, his candidate. So that's why I agree with you that we have to take responsibility. We have to take ownership and responsibility. The citizens have to take responsibility. And that's why Prophet Muhammad said, I just want to touch on just a couple points. Prophet Muhammad, prayers and peace be upon him. He said that his interest was to work to build up the individual person. That's very powerful, to build up the individual person. And I read when they said that Prophet Muhammad, prayers and peace be upon him, he was seen and observed building up men, building up women, and building up children. That always stuck with me. That's what our mission is. That's what our life work is. We want to see every citizen, every human being reach their full potential, their full capacity, as you were saying, to grow in the full dimension. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Every person deserves that, to grow as big as he wants to grow. And that's what Prophet Muhammad did.
Yeah.
And if all of us would start working on it, you know, I'm serious, and I would kind of conclude my opening remarks on this here. If all of us would follow, and that's why I wish people would know and understand Prophet Muhammad a little bit more. Prayers and peace be upon him. And I can understand better now why Imam Muhammad said, I wish I were 1/10 of the man of Prophet Muhammad. That's what Imam Muhammad said. He said, I wish I was 1/10 of the man of Prophet Muhammad.
Oh, right.
And just on these statements alone, that he spent his life establishing, building up the human person, building up men, building up women, and building up children. He wanted to establish the human being in his full potential, in his full capacity. And that's what we should work to do.
And that's what you're saying. But
That's what we should work to.
matter of fact, that's the obligation, that's the duty, and that's the role that religion plays.
Yeah.
It's to build a human person. That all these prophets that we talking about came, all the way from a prophet Adam and Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, and peace be on all of them. They were here to build the human being that God wanted.
Yes.
But we understand, we know that the world wants to take this freedom. The world wants you to oppose this freedom. The world wants to deny you this freedom, so you will never reach that potential.
Yes.
And to me, one reason this election is so important is because the president and the person we have in the White House now, we're not talking about we're talking about the whole system here now, especially on the Republican side. We go back to Adam, how he was seduced by the Satan. The citizens of America were seduced. They were tricked. I mean, we find out now how foreign agents use Facebook and use media to misinform the people,
Sure did.
so that they couldn't, so that the information wasn't correct. And this is why Muhammad the Prophet is called a liberator, because it's always been an effort to deny people these rights, to deny people having, one of these freedoms, we're talking about liberty, is the freedom of speech, the freedom of thought.
Yeah.
Do you know in some countries and on this earth, including some Muslim countries, you can't express your freedom of thought. The things that you have you come to a conclusion on, you can't express it. If it goes against the government or it goes against the established order, you can't say nothing about it. And although it was our prophet who liberated us and who established this, we have this opposition. And this is what we see now, would make this election so important. But now we see that there's people that's imposing these freedoms, that they want to take these freedoms. And along with these freedoms come responsibility, as you said.
Yeah.
People had to fight and die just for us to be able to vote.
That's powerful, yes.
They had to fight and die. Some of them, they never voted. They fought so other people could vote.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have an obligation.
It is.
It's not that you got to like whoever's running for the office of everything, but
That's
as
right.
you said before, you try to get as much information as you can, and which one of them is the cleanest person, which one of them is not corrupt or whatever. But if you don't vote at all, you voted for somebody because you voted for somebody because your absentee vote was a plus for the other person.
That's right.
So it's an obligation when you have this freedom that you also got to be responsible. This freedom comes with responsibility. You're not just walking around in America. I was talking to a man yesterday. He was talking about the 14th Amendment. I didn't know much about the 14th Amendment. He said, what the president want to do, he want to wipe away the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment is legislation that guarantees you that if you were born, especially African American, this is why it came about. It guarantees you that if you were born in this country, you automatically become a citizen.
All right. Yeah.
Our present president want to legislate that, write that off the books.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have an obligation to stand up. Freedom has to be fought for.
Right, that's right. And that's interesting that you were saying that. And again, going back to the point that we were saying, this information and knowledge has to be really transmitted to our public and everything. So they would be more informed and more enlightened and everything. That's key. And I want to go back to a point that you mentioned earlier in terms of the sacrifices that had to be made for us to even have this right to vote. And if we don't exercise that right, that is really shows ingratitude for those who pay such a great price for us to have that right. And also now, and two, we have to talk about this too, because it's clear. In many of the states, there's voter suppression.
Yeah.
That should not be.
Yeah.
That should not be. Sometimes it just frustrates me to sometimes refer to what Ray was saying earlier. It really frustrates you. Here we are in 2018, the 21st century, that we are still now trying to fight for the right to exercise our voting rights and everything because of voter suppression. And it's real.
Yeah.
They're trying to deny people doing everything they can.
Yeah.
So they want. What are they afraid of? But we hope that the public will now realize that we have a moral responsibility, a moral obligation, all of us, to go out to the polls and vote, and don't stay home, and don't stay home. And then we can see what happened in the election before. We stayed home,
Yes.
and we see what happened. We see what happened. But I just want to touch on a couple more things, because that's why I think that this topic, this subject, is so vital, is so important for this climate and environment that we're living in today. It's really serious. I mean, life is really serious. And I just want to remind our audience that freedom is responsibility. To say that you want freedom, it means that you have to take ownership of certain responsibility. To have dignity and self-respect is responsibility. I think in the Christian religion, what they say when they talk about we have to pick up your cross, you know what that's really saying? It's saying that all of us as an individual, every one of us, have an obligation and responsibility for themselves and for their family and for the community. That's what picking up the cross means. Take responsibility.
Yes.
I hope all of us here, hear that. We have to take responsibility. And on the Muslim side, Prophet Muhammad said, prayers and peace be upon him, he said that every one of you are a leader. That's what he said. That was very, very wise. Now look at the wisdom in it, and then I will conclude on this part of my comment on this. He said, every one of you. Now I wish that all of us, Muslim, non-Muslim, every human being would just hear what he just said. Every one of you are leader. You know, we give leadership, put responsible leadership on everybody else, but we don't see ourselves as being leader. So Prophet Muhammad made it clear. He said, every one of you, you are a leader, which means that you are responsible for yourself, you're responsible for your family, you're responsible for your community, and you don't put that responsibility on anyone else. And that's why we do Sunnah prayer. We show that we have the ability to lead ourselves. Now, and I will conclude with this point. Now, just suppose all of us would start practicing that. Suppose all of us seriously. That small statement, but it's powerful, loaded. Suppose everyone who listened to this broadcast today would start doing that, carrying their own cross. Pick up their own cross and carry that. And don't wait for the government. Don't wait for nobody else to take care of your responsibility and your obligation. Suppose all human beings would start doing that. We can transform this world, society, and the community almost overnight.
And it's beautiful because that responsibility is on every male and female. In our religion, the female has to make her Sunnah prayers. Nobody leads her either.
That's right.
She leads herself in that. The male leads himself in that. So when we talk about this election, we're not saying go to the polls saying, oh, okay, with emphasis on Trump. This thing is bigger than Trump. This thing is bigger than President Trump. Yeah, this is bigger.
Sure, yeah.
Don't think this is a coincidence that these things are happening
That's a good point.
in this administration. No, this has been orchestrated. This has been planned long before now.
Yeah.
It's just now taking it's right now taking some form.
You nailed it, yeah.
But we know Allah blessed us with a wise leader, Imam W.D. Muhammad. I'm telling you. I mean, he showed us years ago. What the plan was. The wicked people, they having the plan. President Trump, if anybody know, and if anybody having intelligence know, he's not his own boss. That's how come a lot of times when he says something, he has to change it because he's not speaking for himself. He's not that intelligent. But he's a tool to be used. Because he have all these attributes of somebody you can use. Arrogant, lie don't mean nothing. You know. So what I'm saying, buddy, ma'am, this goes back. This is just materializing now.
Yeah.
But the people in America got to understand that we have these rights because we were created with these rights, and there's a creator involved here, and it's a religious duty, not just a duty, a political duty. It's a religious duty. It's a God-given responsibility that if He's giving you this opportunity, then you have to show the responsibility and appreciation for it. So this is how we should go out to vote, not say, well, we're gonna stop Trump. No, it's not just Trump. It's a whole party. You can see it's a whole system. It's a whole scheme.
Sure, yeah. I want to interject something because I think you hit a very, very, very important point. You really did. And I've heard this in the news cycle, the point you made, that this thing is really bigger than Trump. It's bigger.
It's bigger.
And what they are saying, and in my evaluation too, it's out of his control now.
Yes.
It's out of his control. It's out of his control. But still, the voter, the common person, the common citizen, the common human being, we have a say-so. Because that's the power of democracy. And you started the program off by talking about some of us don't value and don't understand how important, how significant us having a democracy.
Yes.
It's really a blessing
Yeah.
when you really think about it. I mean, you have to really think about it, be conscious of this here, because it may be in other countries, maybe in other governments and everything, people don't have the right to choose their leaders.
Yes.
Their leader.
Yes.
We in a democracy, at least we have that right,
Yes.
to choose who is our leader. That's powerful and everything. You know, we're not dictated to say this person's going to be your leader and we don't have no say so. So I hope that we don't take that lightly. But it is, from what I'm hearing, they're saying, it's this thing now is out of his control. Out of president control now, you know what I mean? If taking on like a life of his own, and people now feel as though they can just do anything, they can disrespect people and everything that is here. But we have the answer to it. And I know we got the answer to it. And it's real simple. It's real common. You know what we need to do? All of us in this country need to dial it down and just start it respecting each other.
Yes.
That's what we're doing. And respect the diversity. You know, respect other people. That's all we got to do. That's the answer, you know, to the problem. It really is, in my opinion. If we just learn to respect each other and respect the diversity that we have, other people's religion, their culture, their way of life. That's all we have to do.
Yeah.
And we will have a more civilized public. Because one thing Farah Muhammad said, Elijah Muhammad said, he called America wilderness. He said, they call America wilderness. It's like people here, though we're the most educated, most informed, most enlightened, but we're living almost like uncivilized people.
Yes.
They're living like barbarians. Living like savages. I know they don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear. But that's it. Now you getting shot in the street, mugged in the street. Women, old men, women not respected no more. Don't respect mama. Don't respect daddy no more. Don't respect granddaddy, grandpa. Ain't nobody respected them.
Yeah.
I mean, just though we supposed to be so intelligent. You know what I mean? We supposed to be so intelligent, but yet we don't have respect for human life. No respect for human life, and that's why we have problems. And I will just conclude this part of what I wanted to say this year is that this is why Prophet Muhammad, prayer and peace be upon him. He made a statement, and it said, it reported that he made this statement. He said that the rich and the wealthy, he said, you all have a responsibility to share that with the poor. That's what he said. To the wealthy and to the rich, that's what Prophet Muhammad said. And quickly, what I want to say, a lot of times it's not reported that he said this also. And he said to the poor, you are obligated also to not be a burden on society. So he went after both of them. And guess what? By those two statements, I hope that people in addition are hearing this here, what our Prophet Muhammad said. And by these two statements that he said, it brought about equality in the Muslim world, in the society, not just the Muslim world, but in the society in general. Those two statements that he made, that the rich, that you are obligated to share your wealth with the poor. And then he spoke to the poor too. And he said, and you are obligated also to not want to be a burden.
Yes. Not to be satisfied.
That's right. That's right. Accepting handouts, accepting charity all your life.
Yes.
And because of those two statements, it brought about equality in the whole society.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and you know, on a religious note, we call this the Yom Adin. This is the day of religion, and this is the day of judgment. So there's nothing that happens where God is not part of it too. See, don't think that God is absent here in all this is going on.
That's right.
And what the public got to realize is that God is exposing all these things to us so we can get upset about it and do something about it. He's exposing all this. We didn't have to see it. This has been going on before. We didn't see it. But God now is exposing it and showing it to you. He bought the mountain now, made a level stretch now where nothing can be hidden now. Yeah. So now we see that these things now that coming out, the disrespect for the women. Now we know that a lot of times women don't be in their right form. You know, sometimes it may be a prostitute or whatever. But God gives us the perception we should have of women. They mothers. They mothers. So even if we see a prostitute or we see a woman that's out in the gutter, we don't disrespect her because of her role as mother. But God is showing us that we have people at the top of our leadership up in the heavens that don't even have respect for mother. Don't even have respect for mom. Just treat women like they don't mean nothing, that you know, all of them done nothing because there's a sex, I'm to be you.
Yeah, that's a problem, sure, yeah. That's right.
And this is not someone you want to put in the highest office in the land, but God is showing us that this is what we have here.
That's right.
And you know, and we have people that's supposed to be making the law and executing the law, and they breaking the law. You know, just like the man that just went into the Supreme Court. You know, now if we testify, Kareem, and we commit perjury, we can go to jail for that. This man trying to be confirmed to the Supreme Court, he lied right to the confirmation panel. So I'm just saying, you know, so people are looking at this double standard. They say, damn, you know, wait a minute, what is this? What is this? So people gotten tired of it now. People say, we're too intelligent for this.
Right.
We're not going for this no more.
Yeah, they're right. They should.
Yeah.
They should be tired.
And so the information has liberated them. They say, hey, we don't have to go for this.
Yeah.
They say, you know what? Okay, they confirm him, but they say, you know what? If we get enough votes where the other party can take the House and the Senate, we still can impeach him. The people haven't given up on impeaching him yet. That's how come they say, you know, the women say, you know what, it ain't over yet.
Yeah.
So we going to the poll, and if it go our way, we're gonna win enough seats in the House and the Senate, and then we're gonna bring you up on charge. We're gonna bring the charges back on you.
That's beautiful.
And they are not gonna let them off the hook when it comes to the health care.
Yeah.
The health care.
Yeah.
The candidate he ran against Obama's health care, whatever. And that put 30 million people, Kareem, they don't have insurance now. Now they promised them that they were going to repeal and replace Obamacare with something else.
Yeah.
Where is it that they replaced it with?
Yeah, that's right.
First of all,
That's
so
right.
many people that were going to be put out of insurance, till they couldn't repeal it.
That's right. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Not to mention replace it.
Yeah, I like the point that you're mentioning, and I'm sure you know the listening audience will probably appreciate very much, you know, your comment in reference to the political discourse that's going on now. You know what I mean? And we all, you know, trying to be civil. We all trying to be civil. You know what I mean? Because it's easy for us to go into barbarians and you know, the disrespect and everything, but we have to remain civil. But the reason why this election is so important, I'm hoping that our listening audience is grasping the magnitude of it, the magnitude. It is so much at stake. You know what I mean? We are shaping the future and history of this country by who we put in office. We are shaping the future and the future of our children.
Yes.
And it is true that the president, he's not, honestly, you have to say it, he's not a good moral example for our children. You know, when I heard on TV that he told 4,000 lies, I almost fell out. I mean, I couldn't. I mean, 4,000 lies, and they did fact check on it, and they said it's true.
Yeah.
Right there, he should almost be disqualified. Anybody lie, now I may tell a lie once in a while, but man, to tell 4,000 lies, man, me brother, that you can't take that lie. That's serious, I mean, that is real serious.
And to hold that office.
Yeah, that's the truth and everything.
Yeah.
So what kind of role model is that for our children? So that's why this election is important, because it's going to help shape the future. And you mentioned too, I mean, what's involved is people to have access to health care.
Yeah.
A right to have access to health care. And the distinction is clear. The distinction is clear. You have to call it the way you see it. Like you said, you have to call it the way you see it. It seems as though the Republicans are not even concerned about health care for the people. They're not concerned about equal education. They are not concerned about wages, equal wages for people. When you see people debating on whether to raise the minimum wage to $15, and really, man, alhamdulillah, that's a little bit, but $15 ain't nothing.
Yeah.
In this time now, with the way the economy is now, $15 is nothing. It's still almost like slave labor and everything. And they don't want to even give you $15 and everything. So these are the issues that we are addressing and facing in this election cycle. And for African American, after all the years of discrimination, all the years of segregation, all the years, that we should be at those polls, and don't believe what we see on the news in reference to them polls. We shouldn't believe that.
Yeah.
And say, I'm going to stay at home because it look like this person is winning everything they said. No, your vote counts.
Yeah.
Your vote counts. That's your voice. Your vote could mean the difference in everything. So I'm really, and I appreciate you having this program, because I think this is our obligation too, to do what we can, whatever's in our power, to use whatever resources that we have to try to inspire and motivate and encourage these people, to all of us. We all have to get out and exercise that right to vote. That's a moral duty and a moral obligation that we do.
It is, brother Imam. And also, I'm beginning to get a better perception of what Imam Muhammad was trying to give us from Scripture when it comes to the women, because God has given roles to both of us. He established, defined our roles. The man's role. The man is the one who goes out. He goes out of the house. He goes out. He fights the wars. He brings the food in. He provides and he maintains. And protects. And the woman, on the other hand, because I have a hard time seeing the woman's role like Imam Muhammad, and like I see it now. I wonder how come she's different. How come she? A lot of times, I say, I wonder. I go, how come a wife is always complaining about something? So what Imam says. Imam said the women, because life comes out of them. Yeah. That God had given them life, and the life that He gives them, the women give it to us. That's we come out of them. That's right. So their concern is about how is life going in society. So the women, they're concerned about this, their children, their boys, going to jail, their boys being killed on guns out here, and violence and drugs. So they're concerned about that. Yeah. So we feel like, we're trying to build a community, we're trying to build up something, and we feel like we're doing a pretty good job. But then the woman said, well, hell, you ain't doing enough. Yeah. So what you doing about this? What you doing about the children? Now, I get offended when my wife talks to me like that. You do a lot of preaching, but what you doing? I said, what you mean what we're doing? We trying to, we're trying to establish something. Yeah. But their concern is not. Their concern is life. And their job is to remind us when we neglecting that. So now I kind of appreciate that, because I understand that a little bit more.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I understand it a little bit more, and I appreciate it. I still don't like, complain, but I understand it now, because I don't see that concern to be. I don't see that concern to be, to me, as important as they see it to them. Yeah. Because they give life. Life comes out of them. Yeah. So they feel for that boy that's shot down in the street, or that people that shot in the religious, in the church or the synagogue. They feel for that. Yeah. Yeah. But that life comes out of them, so they'll express it differently. They'll say, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's fine.
What you men doing about this?
Yeah.
So I'm saying, Brother Imam,
that's on point.
This whole thing is educating us. All this that's going on is making us more aware and have a more appreciation for what God is trying to show us. Yes. Yes. He's trying to show us these things. Now we say, man, you know what? I'm going to have to do a little bit better. I'm going to have to do, I have to see the woman a little different, because she's going to come from a different approach than I am, because she have other sensitivities. Yeah. I ain't never carried a baby for 9 months, and I hope I never have to carry one. But I'm saying, for her to carry that life and then to live with that life out here, then to see that life destroyed, the sensitivities are different. Yeah. And that's how come Imam Muhammad said, even Christ Jesus, the scripture called, is mentioned him, that here's a man that was produced without a woman, without a man.
Yeah.
It's because he had woman sensitivity.
Right.
He was a man, and he was a prophet of God, but he spoke for the life. He spoke for the people down and out. He said, wait a minute, the rabbis and everything walking by, the people on drugs and the prostitutes and everything, and they try to say they're righteous and everything. Since Christ Jesus said, what about this? What about these people? So he mentioned the Good Samaritan. The Good Samaritan came by. The Good Samaritan, he didn't just walk by that. He said, I got to do something about that. So we all, this whole thing, but Imam is bringing us into a bigger perception.
Sure, yeah. And you know, thinking about, I'm going to refer to our good friend, sometimes hard, our friend Ray. And this is a wake-up call for all of us. And I think for the general public, I'm serious, I mean, it's a wake-up call.
Yes.
If we are not waking up now, if it's not waking up now, waking us up now, I don't know what it's going to take to wake us up.
Yeah.
But it's also not just a wake-up call for the public, the people in the public, but it's a wake-up call for the politicians too. Because, our good friend was saying, and I concur and agree with him. See, what has happened is that we have taken the African American vote for granted. That's true. I really believe that the politicians are taking it for granted, you know what I mean? And people are tired of us, and as I say, and I hope that this reaches home, that this is a new day now, and people, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable that you think you're just going to come and ask us and solicit our vote only when it's election time. No, I heard Imam Muhammad say, that people are tired of us just talking. They're tired of us talking. We talk. But what people want to see now is to see us produce. And they're right.
Yes.
That's right. They're tired of the talk. They want to see us produce. And if we started doing these things that we're talking about on this program, and if our politicians, we putting them on point. We putting them on point. You know what I mean? You all got to do a better job when you get in office. Do a better job and everything. You know what I mean? To accomplish more things and everything that is here. Or you're not going to get our vote. We want to make that clear. You're not going to get our vote. That's no soon.
Yeah.
You're going to have the African American vote. That's a new day now. That's over. You know what I mean? I mean that. I know it's over for me. For me. You know what I mean? So if you don't perform, produce, and everything. But this is what I want to say, just mention too. What really hurts us as African American people, and I want to quickly say this because this is why your program is so valuable and good, because it gives us a chance to do dawah. Dawah means to propagate the religion, to invite people to religion, and then really that's our mission. Really, even in the Quran, Allah say that, invite those to the way of God with beautiful teaching. That's what Allah said. So really our whole life is about doing dawah, educating the public and everything. You know what I mean? That's the truth.
Yeah.
But I want to give a quick story, if I may, about referring to the scripture about Abraham, prophet Abraham, when he was instructed, and he saw in a vision that Allah wanted him to sacrifice his son, and to try to be real quickly with this, sacrifice his son. And his only son at that time was Ishmael. And we know he had Isaac later on. And but it's so plain for anyone to see that's thinking rationally, though sometimes the argument comes up in religion that Isaac was first. But Isaac wasn't first. Well, Ishmael was first and everything. But the Jews, they argue that Isaac was first. But we know that it was Ishmael, because he was the only son of Abraham. And Allah asked him to sacrifice his only son. Now, think about that. That is really profound. Now, think about if God had told you, you only got one son, and he's seeing in a vision that he has to sacrifice his son. How do you think Abraham felt? I think about stuff like that. That's powerful. But I said all that to get to this point. That's why I said the program is so good, because we get an opportunity to talk about religion and connect it, because the spiritual and the religious life is all one. It's all one. And the political life, it's all one. Like I said, no separation of church and state. It's all together. It's all one life. It's all one life. And people have to understand that and stop separating these things and make it all one life. But here's the point. I said all that to say this here, that Allah blessed Ibrahim to see that I don't want you to sacrifice your son, but he made him see that he wanted him to sacrifice a lamb, which is, you know, a member of the sheep, of the sheep family. And the sacrifice of the sheep, Imam Muhammad, like you said, he made this clear, because I used to look at that and study this to see what was the message there. But here's the message. I said all that to get to this point right here, this point. Now, they refer to people as being sheeps, especially African Americans. They call us sheepish, that we are sheepish people. I hope people understand this here, you know, because I'm tired of being a sheep in this respect. They call us sheep because we don't want to stand up for our rights. We don't have the rights that other people have, other ethnicity have. We don't have that right, and it hurts. We don't have that right. You know why? Because we don't stand up. We don't stand up like we should. People, African Americans, we have to learn how to stand up and don't be sheepish. And the reason why people don't want people to hear Islam, you believe me or not, they don't want people to hear Islam, because this religion, thank Allah, thank God, this religion, Islam, killed the sheep, the sheepish nature in people. That's what this religion do. And I bear witness to it. God knows Islam, the Quran, had killed the sheep nature in me. Because I'm going to defend and stand up for my right, and I'm going to stand up for my principle, stand up for my value, stand up for my justice.
Yeah, like
Allahu Akbar.
And I'll tell you, buddy, man, I heard Imam Muhammad say one time, he said, you don't become a Muslim just when you make shahada, but if you stand up for your human dignity, you're a Muslim, because God gave you that human dignity. So, you know, I'm saying I don't think people want these politicians to change. I think these people want these politicians to get the hell out of the way and let some new people. I think they're Kareem. I think that's how come so many young people are now coming to the polls to go vote this time, because they want they see these people now and they want them to get out of the way, because, you know, we see what you are, and we see that you're not about serving us. You're about serving the lobbyists. You're about serving the pharmaceutical industry. You're about serving the rifle association. The people, they're about money. The young people say this whole thing is about money. These things, these are the people who bring the drugs in. These are the people who make the laws, and these are the same people who bring the drugs in. And these are the same people who allow the food industry, Kareem, to put all kind of antibiotics and all kind of stuff in our food to make us sick. That's how come they fight against health care, because they know we're going to get sick. Yeah. And they don't want to give us they don't want to share the bill. They know we're going to get sick, Kareem, because they know what's in the food. So we have a situation here, and they try, when you talk about voter suppression, I think this is why in the poor neighborhoods, they bring the drugs in. And all that the drugs don't kill, the drug dealer, he go to jail. When he get out, he can't vote. You can't vote. If you got a felony, you can't vote. So they written off. The ones who die from overdose is out of the way, and the ones who go to jail and let out, they can't vote. So they eliminate a whole group of people right there. So it's all because they want to control. They want control, and they want to make money and have no regard for human life. And that's how come they don't want to get rid of the guns. That's how come they don't want to be responsible for you having a condition. You need to be on health. You have to have some kind of of support if you're going to be sick. And if you can't get insurance, you have a terrible disease, or you have diabetes or something. What's the use of having insurance if you can't? If the insurance company is not going to insure you? Yeah. So all these things are coming up on the table now, and the people are seeing this. So wait a minute. All them people we got in the Senate and in the Congress and the Senate, all of them got the best health care that you can buy, Kareem. Guess who's paying for it? We are. We paying for it. They got the best insurance. Barack Obama showed us this. He said, listen, we got the best insurance that you can buy. And guess who's paying for it? You do. He said, but here, these people up on the hill, they don't want you to have it. Yet you're paying for it.
That should wake them up. What you just said. Honestly.
Yeah.
That should wake them up. That should really wake everybody up. I mean, the point that you just made, you know. And if I may just add this here to what you were saying, I want to make another quick reference to really show the situation, the dire situation that we're in right now and everything. And I want to relate it again to Scripture. And I hope you do a program on weapons, because you just touched on that. That's what I wanted to say. I do think that would be a very, very good program if we can address the situation with the gun violence and weapons and everything. So I hope you keep that in mind. Hopefully in the future we'll do a program on that. You know? Yeah. But now getting back to the point that we're talking about, how important this election cycle is for this midterm, for the midterm that's coming up. And it's a teaching moment for us, like you said, to reach our African American brothers and sisters, but to reach humanity. Because that's one thing about Islam, it's not just for nationality. And our president, you know, God help him. He talking about he's a nationalist now. He bring this kind of, I mean, that's really honesty. That's ignorant. The little bit I know. Now the whole world is moving toward a global economy, to a global universal society. This man gonna make a statement that I'm a nationalist. That's ignorant. That is pure ignorance. To say that I'm just for my country, I'm just for the United States of America, I don't care about no other human being anywhere in the world about suffering. That's what that means when you say I'm a nationalist, that I'm only a concern. That's not right. That's not in the spirit of their religion, the Bible, not in the spirit of the Constitution, and everything. But he boldly come out and say I'm a nationalist and I'm not a globalist like these other people are, when the whole world, and you know the Quran talks about it, Allah is bringing everything to a global society, to a universal society. Humanity is coming as it was in the beginning, God said in the end. So this guy is going against Scripture and everything. But I wanted to say this here, in this statement, if I may, is that one of the things, and I'm going to use a negative to bring about a positive, because Islam started with a negative to bring about a positive. When they say, La ilaha illallah, La, you start with La, a negative, and they say, La, no, there is no God but God, but God. So that was a negative to bring about a positive effect in society and in the world. So I'm going to use a negative to bring about a positive. You know, one thing about African American, and this is a teaching moment now, even though we talk about the election and the importance of voting, us getting out, exercising our right to vote and everything, but also we're doing a little dawah, and thank Allah for this year. But I want to make a reference to Ham real quick, to Ham. Now, we know that Ham was one of the sons of Noah, and he had his brother. And this story real quickly to make my point. So, in their father nakedness, they said that Ham, what he did, he laughed at his father in naked. You know the story, I mean. He laughed at his father. And then his other brother, when he saw his father naked, what he did was he turned his head and he just walked away. He just couldn't stand it. And the other one, he just walked. He walked away. The third one, he walked away. Now, here's the point that I said that to say this here. So they say that we are from Ham,
Yeah, they say we laugh.
Yeah, yeah. But here's the bigger point, and I was looking at it. Here's the bigger point. That Ham, they said, and some of the churches still teach this. They still teach this. Some of them, they tell the people that Ham was created as though he was like inferior to the rest of his brothers because he was created to be a servant, I thought about that. I said, now, isn't that something? That's in Scripture now. I mean, this is really deep when you're constantly thinking about with a rational mind, people who are thinking, for people who are thinking. Now here you have a brother that's inferior to the rest of the brothers and everything. So really he's saying that God made me inferior, that I have to be a servant and a slave to the rest of my brother. And we as African American in 2018, we still accept that. And that's in the Bible, that's in the Scripture. You know, excuse me, I might curse now. That's a damn shame. That's a shame. And it's a shame on our preachers if we preach that.
Yeah,
and if they preach that in the church and everything, they say that we are Ham, the children of Ham, and we are inferior.
Yeah.
You are saying that God created me not with the same dignity, not with the same right, not with the same ability, not with the same honor, not with the same nobility that you created all people.
Yeah, that's ludicrous.
That's the truth. Yeah. And that's what that message is saying in that story of Ham.
Yeah, they're trying to promote racism,
Sure,
white supremacy, and all that.
Sure, yeah.
And we know that this story and the way they're giving it is not in the right form, and that this means something altogether different.
Yes, yes.
These three sons of Ham are in every human being, all groups in there.
That's right.
They got the one who's that's stupid and laugh all everything. They got the one who everything despicable is so self-righteous, and then they got the one with the level head.
Yes.
So you know, man, but it is an insult to intelligence for people to be preaching that and thinking it's coming from God and coming from religion. And you know, I want to say this also when it comes to African American, that you know, let's say African American. Now they're saying the African American woman vote is going to be very important in this election. They said the African American woman. Imam Muhammad, his last book, he said this. I thought about this. He said, you know, the African American woman carries a heavy burden. Because in slavery, she had to be the white man's wife before she could be her own man's woman. She had to be the white man's woman first before she could be her own man's woman. And this is how slavery had her in that role. So she carries a heavy burden, especially because the male, the African American male, this is an insult to his manhood. So the white people fear the young black. So that's how he's shot down in the street, because he comes here and knowing that they insulted his manhood, and he's angry about it. But now that we have a situation where they have insulted all the women, including the African American woman again, she's insulted again. That's another reason why we thank Allah for even honor Elijah Muhammad.
Yes.
You know, and him raising us up and giving us social reform. You know where he said, the big sign, respect your women. Respect your woman.
Sure did. Absolutely.
Now, you know, Kareem, that was a revelation for a lot of us.
Absolutely.
Respect your woman.
That's right.
You know, because if you don't nobody else going to have no respect for you.
That's right.
If you don't respect your woman,
That's right.
if you don't respect your mother, if you don't respect your women, who going to have respect for you? So they're saying that this election, and you know, and especially with this race going down in Georgia, with the African American woman and this other races.
Yes, yes.
I wouldn't be surprised there's gonna be some bloodshed on that, Kareem. And I ain't gonna even cuss about it. I mean, the way they do it might be some bloodshed here in New Jersey. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is a defining moment when we had to fight for this freedom, this democracy. It wouldn't have been in the United States of America had it not been that's the slaves' fault. The slaves had the fault. This is what Frederick Douglass was trying to tell Abraham Lincoln all the time. He said this issue is really about slavery. This is how come the Confederate want their own life. They don't want to be united because their economy and their life is built up on slavery and it's built up on free labor. So Abraham Lincoln, so Frederick Douglass told Abraham Lincoln, hell, the only way you're going to unify this is that the slave got to be free and let him fight for his own freedom.
Yes. Beautiful. Yeah.
And so God had them to close out. So God made it, Kareem, where the African American man had to dignify. He was able to fight for his own dignity and believe and that's what they did.
I want to touch on, if I can go back, because you kind of clarified, gave a little bit more clarity to what we talked about with Ham, which was very significant because we made a connection there. And I want to go back to that for just a moment, real quickly, if I may, because I think it's important and significant that our people, audience, understand that connection. When we were saying the sons of Noah and his three brothers, and Ham was treated as though he did not have the same equality as the other. And we see this in society, because like I said, that's the connection. How one, when he saw his father naked, laughed at him. And the other one who saw his father, his other brother saw him, he was so ashamed that he turned and walked away. He couldn't stand it. The other one, they said that that's what the part I left out. They said he went and covered his father. He went and covered his father. Now this is for those who are thinking now. This is revelation for those who are thinking. Because it's a beautiful sign in that story. The Imam Muhammad, he said that, but this is not in the Quran now. This is the Bible. What I'm quoting from. This is the Bible. This is not in the Quran like this is. But Imam Muhammad made a reference. He said that those three things, what you just said, that's in us, but he said also represent the black, yellow, and the white race. That's what it represents. Imam Muhammad shared a lot of revelation on that. Deep revelation on that. It represents the black, yellow, and the white race. Now, he said, it's interesting how he pointed it. He said, who do you think was the one who covered him up? He said, they said that was the white race. Because they always gonna want to take the credit. They did this and this. And the other one who turned away. Now this is really who turned away. Interesting, but this is from Imam Muhammad. I can't take credit for this here because I'm not a robber, a thief and a robber. I give Imam Muhammad credit for this here. So he said the one who covered him up is the white race. Like I said, this is not Quran now. This is the Bible. And the one who was so ashamed that he turned away was the yellow race. And he said the one who laughed at him is the black race. Not that we agree with all that. Not we agree with all that, because that's not supported in the Quran. But we do know we can make that connection, of course, in the Bible, in the Genesis, in the Bible. Now here's the point that I want to make. So Imam Muhammad was saying that the one who laughed was the black race. And we don't like to use that language either. I mean, we don't use that language from Quran or Islam, color consciousness, race and all that. We don't use that kind of language because that divides us and everything this is. But we're using that as a reference and everything. So I hope the audience understand. But here's I said out to kind of get this critical point that we want to make to our audience, to the public and everything, is this: that African American, and it's related to this voting too, because people have lost faith. I heard people say, I don't believe in politics no more. They lost faith in politics. Hope in politics and everything. And you know what I can say, but I tell them, don't give up. To some degree, I can't blame them, because like our good friend said, they ain't doing nothing, a lot of them, anyway. That's the truth. And the people are tired of it. Because they're tired of this talking, they want to see you produce. That's real. That's real. And they showing it, they demonstrate, like I said, where they coming out now. Men and women and everything, young people now, getting more engaged, more involved in the political process. That's what we see happening because they are tired of the do nothing attitude. But I'm saying this here, and I hope this can help our African American people. Though we're speaking to humanity, always we're speaking to humanity. Because we are not racist, we're speaking of humanity. That thing about, and you touched on a little bit too, African American, you know what they say about us? They say that we play too much. We laugh too much. We joke too much. We don't take things serious too much. That hurts me to say that about my people. But I mean, you know what? It's true. I heard Imam say, and sometimes and I got to work on this. Sometimes I laugh maybe too hard. And the Prophet Muhammad, we know he didn't do anything in extreme. He didn't laugh in extreme. He didn't weep in extreme. He did everything in moderation. That's wisdom. That's wisdom. But the thing on us, African Americans, is that we play too much. We laugh too much. We joke too much. We don't take life serious. We don't take life serious. That's what they say about us. Sometimes our children hear them laughing for 15 minutes. Imam Muhammad sometimes hear children laughing for 15 minutes. How in the world you gonna be laughing? What in the heck are you so funny with all the hell we going through, all these problems in the world? You laughing for 15 minutes. I'm serious, laughing for, and I thought about what he was saying. Laughing for 15 minutes. So that's what's wrong with us. Everything is a joke. We just playing and everything, and foolishness and everything. Like you said, you touched on that. And that's what's hurting us. Because, and this is the last point, and thank you for that, just make me drive this point home, is that I heard Imam say, when you laugh too much humor, you burn out your own intelligence. I do believe that. I really believe that. Because Allah didn't create this brain with all these billion brain cells. They say we got 100 billion brain cells, 100 billion brain. You think Allah created this brain cell for us to just deal in foolishness? He said, so when you deal in too much humor and laughter and foolishness and nonsense and all this stuff, he said you burn out your own intelligence and you even burn out your own heart. Because the heart like saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? What is so funny that you laughing for 15 darn minutes and everything that is just? That's the issue. I hope we correct that. I hope we get better in doing it. I'm going to work on myself and everything and get better. We got to work on that.
We definitely need to work on that.
Sure do.
We definitely need to work on that. I think a lot of that from slavery. I think a lot of that came from the fact that, we had to entertain the master. You get a little extra piece of cornbread or whatever. But we have the situation now where everybody want to go into the sports and other kind of entertainment. And I like the sports and everything. What I'm saying is we don't want to make that a priority for our people. This is why we want to talk about this freedom. That this freedom obligates us to be responsible.
Sure do.
So we got this freedom, and we know our children are just as intelligent as anybody else. But we do play too much. We do shake the booty too much.
Sure do.
Everything is fun. Everything that we got to work on that.
Sure
we got to work on that.
Sure
but at the same time, we do have intelligent people.
Sure do.
We have intelligent people. Always had intelligent
That's
people.
right.
But we do have, as a group, we have to work on that point. But right now, what we're gonna have to do. If we're going to have to take on our responsibility with all the freedom we got to do, we have the freedom.
Sure.
We're going to take on responsibility, Imam Kareem, and we're going to do what we got to do to turn this
God.
world, to keep this world going. And we have an obligation to that. In Islam, we're not just obligated to work for the Muslim life. We work for the life of the human life. We work for the whole society. We take on responsibility for the whole society. And if this thing is a threat, if this pattern, if this scheme is a threat, this scheme of just making money at any cost is a threat, then we have an obligation to work against it, to oppose it, and go to the poll at least. With our hand, we can do something about it, we can speak about it.
That's right. That's a good point.
But I'm saying that we have to stand up too, because
Sure
we got people now, they really want to intimidate you. You see what they're trying to do? They know that they want to send bombs through they cowards. They just want to send bombs to try to scare people, you know, and we don't want no change. Don't go to the polls, you black, you know, they're gonna shoot the synagogue up, you know, and all that. They think they're gonna scare somebody. You know what? We ain't never been scared. We ain't never been scared to walk on this earth.
Lord Akbar.
As African American, we always have had to fight. We always have had to show our courage. We always had to step up. So it's time now, and I hope the religious people, what's the use of you being in the church or being somewhere talking about religion, and all this hell going on, people taking religion. Don't forget, they can take your religious freedom too. There are countries, especially in the Islamic world, where the imam can't teach the sermon there. You can't go and teach the sermon you want. The government has to give you a sermon and tell you teach this. Other people don't have the right in the Soviet Union and other countries under communism. And in the Muslim world, they don't have that right. So we have responsibility. We have all this freedom. We have this right. You have responsibility. I'm going to let you finish up.
No, go ahead.
I'm going to tell you, the African American has always played a very important part of anything that happens in America. I don't care how much you put us down, how much you laugh, we have always played an important part of anything that goes on in America.
That's history. Well, I said you hitting it real hard because you waking me up. You waking me up. That's the truth, though. But I'm real serious about that. I just hope that our listening audience public value and appreciate, what we're sharing with them. You know what I mean? That's our only hope. That's why we are doing it. I know that's why you have this program. But I just one more thing, if we have time to touch on this here a little bit, and I just want to add just a little something to what you just mentioned. In terms again, not taking this election and our vote for granted, for granted, and then this here, that we really do have to stand up. And the Quran tells us, our holy book, our sacred scripture, tells us that we have to stand up for justice. We have to stand up for justice. Now I'm going to tell you something that I know about Muslims. Muslims, well, people know this, and you need to know this here. I'm telling you, Muslim will go to war against cruelty and injustice. You want to see Muslims go to war? Yeah, we'll go to war. Allahu Akbar. That's right. Understand that. When there's injustice and cruelty, you want to see Muslims go away? Yeah, we'll go to war. Go to war for them. And people should know this, and not that we're trying to intimidate anyone, and because we talked about that sheep, and that this real religion killed the sheep. Kill the sheep that's in people. That's the truth. I'm not lying. They kill the sheep. That's why they don't want you to hear Islam and everything that this is. And that's real serious. But the thing is that we do have to stand up, as you mentioned, and stand up for justice, as the Quran says, even if it's against yourself and against rich or poor, and even against your parents, again, your parents. And we know we love our parents and everything, and we shouldn't obey them. We should always treat them with honor and respect. But when they ask you to associate anything with Allah, then that's the only time we're not to obey. Isn't that beautiful? That's the only time that we don't supposed to obey them. But we still supposed to keep good company with them and respect them, even though mommy and daddy may be trying to get me to worship something other than Allah, other than God, the one who created us and everything. There's a lot on my mind now, because I know one day we're going to do a program on the images that attempt to portray the man. We got to talk about all these things. They put one of the biggest sins, I'm kind of jumping all over the place now, but one of the biggest sins on Western democracy, and I know this is going out, on Western democracy, is for this society to take God out of education, to take God out of the school, that's a big sin on this democracy, and we have to speak on it.
Lord,
When
Lord.
God is the one who created everything, how are you going to leave him out of education? And without God, you wouldn't have no education. Without God, you wouldn't have no school. The teacher wouldn't have nothing to teach these children if it weren't for Allah, it weren't for God, but they took God out of school. That's a big sin on the Western world. Also, it's a big sin on the Western world, and if we don't tell the truth and speak the truth, Allah is going to punish us. And that is for this society to have put the image of God, made him, put him into the image of a white man, into white flesh. They put God in white flesh. Now, that's a whole khutbah, a whole sermon all by itself. But that's a sin on the Western world, on the modern world, that they have taken white flesh and say that this is the image of God.
Trying to make it divine.
Show it and make it divine.
Trying to make it divine.
That's a big sin. I mean, that's a big sin. They're going to answer for that. They're going to have to answer for that. Yeah, I'm ready for anybody who's listening. They want to challenge us. I'm ready to have that conversation, because all you have to do is go get a psychologist. And if they be truthful, they'll tell you the damage that it does to other people, races and everything, that you put God in the image of just white. What do you think all the other people feel?
And it done
How they feel?
major damage to the African American.
Major damage to Africa. Psychological. They are proving it and everything, but they don't want to talk about that, though.
That'll be another cook, Brother Man.
Yeah, they don't want to talk about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, Brother Man, I thank
Yeah.
you. I
Yeah.
thank you for
Yeah.
your time today and sharing your thoughts with us on this very important moment in the history of humanity,
Yeah,
especially in the history of this country.
Yeah.
You take the time to try to, to inform people and educate people and
Yeah,
showing the
that's right.
concern.
That's what it's all about.
And I thank Allah for you.
Yeah,
I thank Allah for Ray and all of them.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get something out here. And when we pray, Allah, we know Allah is with us.
Sure.
He's going to bless us. We have no doubts about this, but we have to do our little part too.
That's right.
So thank you.
Yeah,
May Allah really
thank you for
bless
having
all
me.
of us. Amen. Assalamu alaikum.
Stay there. This one.
Check, 1, 2.
That's me. I'm fine.